It has been too long since I've talked to you. We are on nonsense already. Hey, thank you for joining the Escape With Me book club. Escape with me, Sam Reiner.
And me, Hunter Mallard.
Into our most recent read. Come with us as we evade reality and go into detail about a new book. We'll be covering the book from beginning to end, so there will be spoilers. Today we're going to Atlanta, Georgia, United States, and Wonderland. Published September 25th, 2018, A Blade So Black takes the lore of Alice in Wonderland and creates a modern urban fantasy land. To protect our world from the monster manifestations of negative energy, Dreamwalkers are trained to fight. But can Alice balance school, friends, family, and saving the world? Also, have you played any Persona games? Because that's exactly what this is. This is Alice in Wonderland meets Persona, 100%. Even the whole has to go into another world to fight the monsters that are manifestations of the evils of humans. So, background. This is a me pick. I either found it on Twitter or Goodreads. I don't remember which.
I'm going to go with Twitter. That's my guess.
I read it at the beginning of last year as an audiobook, and then I meant to get around to the sequel, and I never did, and then my library got rid of them. Dang it. So yeah, I read it, and I wanted to do it again. I like Alice in Wonderland. I like any sort of fantasy that just is off the walls bonkers, because fantasy, I'm a huge, huge fan of Wizard of Oz. Just anything that's just out of this world crazy. I love it. Pretty simple.
Oh, I like Alice in Wonderland. I think it's very imaginative. I like the characters a lot. They're very creative. They have a variety of personalities that meld with each other in a very fun way. I mean, I like it as a story and everything. I have nothing against that. I don't think this book did it justice.
Yeah, I'm going to say 2/3 of this book takes place in the real world, if not more.
That's kind of one of the things that disappointed me a lot. I kind of wanted to be in Wonderland a whole lot more.
Yeah, which from the description, it looks like the second one is, but I can't say for certain on whether or not it actually delivers on that promise. So I don't know. All I know is this book.
If the second book was more in Wonderland and was just purely Wonderland, then I would give the second book a try. But if it's this back and forth, I can't do it.
I don't know if it's all Wonderland, but
at least majority.
Yeah, because the book ending, where it ends, is not where my brain told me it ended, which we'll get there in a minute. So she ventures into Wonderland. The more topsy-turvy everything becomes, it's not until she's at her wit's end that she realizes Wonderland is trying to save her. There's a new player on the board, a poet capable of using nightmares to not only influence the living but raise the dead. This poet is looking to claim the Black Queen's power and Alice's budding abilities as their own. Dreams have never been so dark in Wonderland, and if there are any hope for defeating this mysterious poet magic, Alice must confront the worst in herself and the people she loves, and in the very nature of fear itself. So that doesn't really help. My friend Danielle, who hates all fantasy ever, I got her to read this book and she liked it. And so I don't care what you think. I'm riding that high for like ever. And then she gave the next book 3 stars. But granted, she hates fantasy, so I don't know. I might look at her review. Oh yeah, her first thing is her home life is relevant for 2 seconds, and then most of the book is in Wonderland.
Okay. Then I might actually give it a try then, possibly. I don't know. I'd have to think on it. We'll see.
Anyway, age level, this is a YA. It's like the newer Spider-Man movies. It makes me think of, oh, dang it, I have to go to class. That's her with her mom. She's like, oh, dang it, I have to go home.
Yeah.
That teenage, I'm a superhero plot point that always comes up in everything. But content warning, we have death of a parent, language, gore, monsters, racism, blood, and kidnapping. I don't normally put monsters, but some of these monsters were nightmare fuel. I mean, they're called nightmares, but you know.
I mean, if you imagine what she described some of them looking like, I'm like, ooh, okay, all right.
No, thank you.
Okay.
I want my cute little owl bear. I don't want any of yours.
Plus, they apparently bleed basically sewer goo.
Green.
Yeah, but it smells awful too and everything.
I mean, Star Wars. I honestly wonder wonder if she made it green to keep it more YA, so it wasn't as bloody and gory. I don't know. That's what I always think when it's like, oh, the blood is a different color. Like so many video games where it's like, oh, it's okay. It's green blood, not red.
Green or purple or something like that, yeah.
So I'm curious about that, but whatever. Judge a book by its cover. That cover, though. Oh, that's so good.
I think it's all right.
It's so good. It looks so good. I don't know. I feel like I've been in a drought with book covers, and this one feels like they put some attention and money into it.
I don't know.
I like it a lot. The second one's okay.
I like the subtle ones better, but, that's just me.
I don't know. You get the vibe really quick. It's Alice in Wonderland, but she has a knife.
Yeah, but why daggers? I just want to ask. It's like, why daggers?
I don't know.
I really don't like that because she doesn't have the personality for a rogue type of character, which is what daggers would equate to.
I don't know, because I'm the type of person when I play video games, I love to play two sword characters that goes really fast and avoids being hit that way by hitting you first. I'm also a speed character in Smash Bros.
Okay.
So that's what I was wondering, if that was the vibe she was trying to give, but yeah.
But she never describes her as being exceptionally fast, and there are plenty of opportunities with the twins to make that kind of comparison if she wanted to, but she never took the opportunity, so...
She is fast, but I don't think they ever make a comparison if she's faster than the twins. We just know she's fast.
The only thing particularly special would be the fact that she somehow has this unknown ability with moonlight.
Yes. Something going on there.
And then that's the only thing that really separates her from the twins.
Yeah.
Why daggers? Give her a battle axe. I want to see that.
That can be your one question for the author.
Nah.
I'm trying to remember. I don't remember what the twins had. I think they had the same weapon.
They had swords.
Like a long sword?
Yep.
I think they had more than one. Not that they dual wielded, but they had, I thought...
One had a switchblade.
One of them gave a weapon to Alice. Like an extra weapon or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe that could have been more fun if she'd had daggers, but also had a different weapon.
There wasn't much description on how the twins fought or what they fought with, so I don't know.
No, but to be fair, if I was fighting something, I wouldn't be paying that much attention to anyone else either.
True.
I would have liked to see the twins fight, because that would have been kind of cool for the comparison, but...
I would have liked at least one fight scene where they work with Alice, and it's described and everything of taking down one of the nightmares.
Yeah.
I would have liked that.
Yeah. Oh, well. So, just to start out in the very beginning, to get all your thoughts in, I'm sure. The prologue, which I think is just chapter 1, is essentially her dad just dies, so she has a lot of grief, and so she's able to see this nightmare creature, and then sees a dude that can kill the nightmare creature, because it almost attacks her, and he's like, oh, cool, you can see me. You probably have the potential. Persona 3 is raging in my head this entire book.
Yeah.
And then he's like, cool. And then it's a couple months later. No, it's a year later. The whole year has passed and she just fights now.
I thought it was 6 months.
It was 3 months of training later. She gets the figment blades for herself and goes into Wonderland, and it's a rough time. Which I am so curious if she has motion sickness, because it mentions in the book she's always sitting in the front seat when she's in Courtney's car. So I'm really curious if she has motion sickness and that's why it's so much worse for her, because other people seem okay. Like the twins do it just fine.
Oh no, I think it has something completely to do with the plot and her muchness and speciality.
Maybe.
I think it has something completely to do with that, especially since she was infected. It started getting worse. I think it has something to do with that.
Maybe. But you're right. 3 months later, she goes into it for the first time. She fights a nightmare. I want to know what a frugal is so badly.
Yeah, describe it to me. What exactly is this thing?
Well, she does describe it as like a puppy puffball, and I'm just,
Yeah, but that doesn't do anything for me. I was like, what? I need a little bit more.
My mind takes over so fast. I want to see a frugal so badly. But yeah, first time in Wonderland, she fights a nightmare. Woo! But it's 1 year later that the plot actually really begins.
Can I get your thoughts on something? The prologue, essentially, if you're gonna, for any of the listeners out there, if you're gonna go look this book up and everything, you're gonna read the prologue and everything like that.
Or you've already read it.
Or that. After reading that and then reading just a couple to 3 chapters in, I was thinking back to it and I was like, I swear a completely different author did the prologue.
Really?
Yeah.
Where is that?
I swear that's what it feels like.
Oh, that's what it feels like. Okay.
That's what it feels like. It feels like a completely different author did the prologue. It was just a different style, different way of describing things. It didn't feel like the same author once you get a few chapters in. I think possibly whoever published this, their publisher, might have had a really, really heavy hand in that.
Maybe.
That's my theory. Because reading the prologue, I was actually pretty excited. I was like, wow, this sounds very interesting and everything. I get a few chapters in and I don't know, it changed dramatically.
Well, the prologue also seems like proof of concept more than anything, which is kind of what a prologue's for. But I can totally believe that was what was in her mind for a lot longer, maybe. And maybe she workshopped it a lot more than the other stuff.
Yeah, something.
And then it kind of fell apart later for you. But I don't know. I didn't think it felt off. I actually have an issue with the first time in Wonderland. That jump was more weird to me.
Just throwing this out there, my feelings, I can sum it all up. It felt artificial, forced, kind of unnecessary, in my opinion. This is throughout the whole book, honestly. It felt like this author had a rubric that she was being graded on, and she had it in one screen to her left, and she was just referring back to it. And she's like, oh, did I add this aspect? Let me just add this in for this chapter and this chapter. I feel like this is a case in point.
That one felt a little like an editor being like, oh, you need to have her first time in Wonderland.
Yeah.
That's why I basically skipped it, because the plot doesn't really happen until 1 year later. I would have totally been fine with the skip.
Yes.
But maybe an editor was worried.
That's exactly how I felt. In the moment of reading that, and I'm over here like, why does this feel like it was pushed? And this is completely unnecessary, in my opinion.
Oh, now I've got questions. Let's see. Who published this?
This might not affect you at all, but why is it the first few chapters, this girl says for real, way too many times? I wrote down in my notes, if I have to read for real one more time, I swear.
You would hate Harry Turtledove books.
Oh my, she said this over and over. And then once you get past those few chapters, she never says it ever again. I don't understand. It just disappeared.
Hunter, how does it feel to be having a me moment? You cared so much about this point that no one else does, and you know it, but you still have to complain about it.
I do. I just don't understand. It really bothers me because it felt, like I said, artificial. And that was my biggest thing here, is she started using modern day slang for teenagers.
Which was immediately gonna date a book, which I always think is unfortunate.
She described Hada. She described his eyes, I think, and described him as white. Like white. That's the description I'm given. White, and fine. Please, give me something else to work with here.
Is that not all you need?
I need more.
He looks 19, he's white, has moss green hair, gray eyes, dimples, multiple piercing in left ear, and long fingers. That is all the descriptions we are given.
Throughout the whole book. But some of the first descriptions I'm ever given is just, he's fine.
I'm sorry if that you require more than he's fine.
No, it's one of those things where first description of a character matters. If you want to call him fine afterwards or something, go ahead.
I think she mentions the green hair and the gray eyes in the very beginning. And then I think you get dimples a little later. And then multiple piercings was later too. And then long fingers was forever later. She mentioned holding his hand and he has long fingers. And I was like, oh, gotta write that down.
Yeah, I looked up the author's age because I personally, listening to this slang that she was throwing in there, I was cringing. It felt like my mom trying to use slang appropriately, and it just didn't flow for me. I don't know. What did you think?
It doesn't help that this was probably written 2016, 2017. What is that, like 6 years ago at this point? 6 years ago, it was published.
I mean, it's 2024, so that would be 8.
Yeah, and we had a whole COVID epidemic in between. So I give a little grace for that.
So maybe it's just aged a little bit.
It's just dated. Like I said, that's why I always feel so sad when an author feels the need to be hip with the youth. Because it's going to go so quick.
I was making this argument. What is the point? Because there's so many other books that don't do that, and they do just fine.
They do better in my argument.
Yeah, I think they do better. If it doesn't enhance the quality of of the book, then why have it in there? The amount that it would enhance the book or the quality is so minuscule and get such downside. Just don't do it.
Yeah, I can tell you why it's done. I don't agree with it, but it's usually because they want it to be quote unquote authentic.
You're writing a fantasy.
Urban fantasy with the quote unquote real world. But the problem, I always feel like, oh, it's authentic for all of 3 seconds. Jargon and idioms and slang change so fast. It could have changed in between the time she wrote it and the time it was published. It's just not a good practice, in my opinion.
I see it in the same way. I'm just going to make a little comparison for all the gamers out there. If you're playing a game for entertainment, let's say just Call of Duty or whatever, no one's going to be able to fire off a 50 cal sniper rifle standing up after sprinting like they do in Call of Duty. That is not authentic, but it is fun and entertaining. And so that's the same aspect as here. If you put in that authenticity, all that, it's just not going to be as entertaining.
No, like I said, and we belabored this point way too long already, but it's dated.
Well, it's one of the reasons why I put down the book. After a few chapters, I was like, I need a break from this.
I read a book that came out in 2012 that used slang, and it was painful. The things we were saying. And the time, it feels so natural. And it could have just very been her working vocabulary at the moment, but it just gets so dated so fast.
But to go not exactly on that, I guess line of thought, but a little bit separately, it's not slang necessarily, but why is she so crass? Unnecessarily.
I don't know. That felt really authentic to me.
Well, I mean, I understand someone in that situation might be like, curse word, you know, but there's a time and a place and a proper use for characters that use cuss words and profanity. And it's like, if it's not done, you just kind of how unimaginative, how lazy.
I mean, they are teenagers, so that's my opinion of them to begin with.
I know, but I think it reflects on the author.
What is the joke about Olivia Rodrigo if it's not she doesn't know how to curse because she's like 18? Everyone makes fun of her for the curse word she has in some of her songs because she's a teenager and not very experienced in it. So I don't know. That felt authentic to me.
Also, first time she went to Wonderland, which is what we were talking about before we get on that rant. What are your thoughts on her just willy-nilly getting basically superpowers for free?
I wish they had explored it more. It felt like Chekhov's gun, where it's like, oh, cool, I suddenly have all these cool powers. And then it's just kind of not really talked about. She mentions, oh my gosh, I can jump really far and I can run. You're like, cool, that'll totally come up.
Yeah. And then she has problems lifting chess at the school.
Oh, don't even. I have notes. Do not get ahead of my red notes.
We won't jump that far, but for later. I have a very furrowed brow. What? But anyways, I don't like the modern archetype that I see in a lot of books and media in general now, where main characters are just given powers just for free, without earning it, without having any type of purpose behind it. It's just like, oh yeah, you guys, you have superpowers. You're a superhero now. Can we go back to Spider-Man, where he has great power comes great responsibility, or Luke Skywalker, who has the whole training arc and stuff like that?
That training montage, though.
I mean, technically she did a training montage off page, off book.
Yeah, and that's why I'm like, I would have been okay if they just skipped to 1 year, because we don't really gain that much from 3 months later. Cool.
But this whole thing where she first goes to Wonderland, it just leaves almost a bitter taste in my mouth. Oh, 3 months training, huh? And then all of a sudden you have superpowers. Like you said, I would much rather them skip year later. Year of hardcore training, and then just kind of throw it in there that she has these unique powers. And you can even put in there, it's like you had to slowly progress through them and adjust to them and all that, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. It would have made it a little bit better.
Yeah, if you're gonna do it, do it. But I don't know, I just kind of accepted it and moved on because, okay, whatever, fine. Just a very quick, it's a year later, and she's like, like, hey, some real world crap has gone down, and I'm starting to realize, hey, maybe I'm not indestructible because, teenager. So maybe I shouldn't be doing this. And her best friend is like, no, you should totally still do this. And there's this moment where during the scene, and it's so dumb, but it's so accurate. It would not be a book set in Atlanta without mentioning Coke versus Pepsi. Just period.
Yeah.
That is the accurate.
But there's also a thing about this where I know you and I know all the references she makes to Atlanta, but how does someone who lives in, let's say, New York?
No, this is payback for your freaking New York books. Oh, I do this. I am going to have no explanation for how any of this works. This is payback. Yes!
How is it payback? I just think it's bad writing. Don't mention the MARTA and then expect people to know what the MARTA is. No one knows what MARTA is unless they've been to Atlanta.
We're in England and they just mentioned going on the tube. You have to look that stuff up.
Oh yeah, tube. That's slang for the subway.
Yeah, if you didn't know that, you would have to look it up. I'm just saying.
I mean, sure, but that's a slang. That's a little bit different. And then she refers to Emory Hospital, I think, at one point.
She does.
No one knows Emory. Come on. No one knows Emory until they're applying for colleges later.
Emory has a legitimate hospital. That's all you need to know. It's Emory Hospital. Woo! It's a hospital.
I know, but it's just, I was thinking several times, how is any, I don't know. I always say the same thing about those books, like you said, that are in New York, and they're like, yeah, this place. And I'm like, I have no idea where that is.
It's like, and I go down 16th Street and see XYZ, or they just mention places, and it's like, oh yeah, and I saw this random tourist trap thing that I've never heard of, and we'll have to look up in a minute.
Yeah, let me just put down this book, get on my computer, and pull up Google so I can figure out where the heck this is.
Let me see, because where is Macmillan Publishing based? Because so many publishing houses are based in New York that they let that slip. Where's Macmillan? If it's in Atlanta, I'm gonna laugh so freaking hard.
Do you like the best friend? The girl best friend?
Not really.
I don't.
I think she's such a common stereotypes in YAs where it's like, oh, I live a double life or whatever. And contemporary romance too, you kind of have the prudish main character that has guys interested in her, and she's like, oh no, whatever, wilting flower. And then you have the best friend who's like, dude, you just need to get laid. Come with me to this party. Let's do drugs, get you a one night stand. That's such the stereotype I feel like that she is fulfilling.
Okay, when she's introduced and she pulls out the age is only a number, I kind of barfed.
Oh my gosh, oh no, that's not a good one. Such a bad excuse.
That was number one. Stars are next to that note.
Interesting. Sorry, Macmillan, it's a British company. It's based in UK.
Ah, they didn't care then.
They have no craps. They're like, I don't know what any of this is.
They're like, yeah, those Americans would know.
Oh my gosh. I'm sure they have American bases and American editors, but I personally now like to think she sent him this book with all this jargon and all these references, and they were like, sounds good.
Wait, that makes so much sense now, actually.
It's probably not what happened, but that's what happened in my mind now.
Oh, it is in my mind too. So that's what happened now.
But yeah, what bothered me about Courtney especially is, and the first time I read it, and this also happened in American Royals, the first time I read it, it's like, oh, I get it, girl. Ooh, you messed up with your bestie and whatever. But rereading it, Courtney goes from, oh my gosh, yes, you need to save the world. It's so important, to,
oh my God,
you missed my pre-birthday.
Oh, you're getting me started on this, huh?
So that's how I feel about Courtney.
Okay, to finish out before we jump on that, the age is only a number. This is her first impression to me. Age is only a number is what came out of her mouth, and then she called Hadda man meat.
Yeah, she is that contemporary romance best friend that's vulgar because you want to strangle the main character for being stupid. I hate that trope too.
I hate her guts through the whole book. I hate her. And I don't like Chess at all.
What?
I think he's equally as creepy.
I love Chess.
I think he's creepy as all get out.
I am so glad that Alice is into Hannah because that means Chess is available.
This book was going to get a 1-star from me. When Chess died at the end, I gave it a 2-star.
Well, he didn't die, but...
Yes, he's coming back as a bad guy, which brought it up to a 2.5. And I'm like, heck yes. Dies twice now.
I disagree. I think they're just awkward best friends. And it is what he's so nice. What is wrong with you?
It comes off as so creepy.
I disagree.
Some of the things he does, I'm over here like, oh my God, dude.
We have different types. This just is what it is.
Different types? Okay, sexually assaulting people?
When? Name one time!
Some of the moves he makes are very questionable. He's far more touchy than he needs to be. He needs to use his words more. They are not a thing. They have not been a thing. She's oblivious. He can see it, and he wants to be touchy.
She is not oblivious. This whole book is a will they, won't they because of Hada.
But she's acting oblivious. And my thing is, bro, you need to talk to her. You need to use your words. Don't constantly reach for her hand, shoulder, leg, all this other stuff. You're being way too touchy, and it's creepy. I'm just going to put this. If I was at a party and I saw him doing that, it would creep me out. If I was friends with Alice and I knew he was whatever, and I saw him being that touchy, I would have a conversation with him.
Maybe this is just my before I was married vibe. I'm a very touchy person. I'm married now and I put up a lot of boundaries to be respectful, but I'm such a touchy-feely person. Is me. That's me.
I mean, I am too.
The reason that doesn't bother me is because Alice isn't bothered by it. Because someone pointed out it's flirting and it's fine until the other person finds it creepy, and then it's like the worst thing ever. There's two vibes here. They're both 17.
See, that's the thing though. Just because the other person might not find it creepy, in my opinion, doesn't make it not creepy. There's a proper way to, like, I guess court a girl. His way of going about it is, I don't know, if I was a female, I would think he was just after my body.
Oh, if I was a female.
And I know that's some crazy stuff to say, but that's the vibe I was getting. And that's the kind of stuff I see from guys that is all they want.
I don't know. He's so sweet.
I understand he's sweet. I just can't get past it.
Alice also needs to use her words, which is one of the things I have issues with.
Yes.
But
yes,
because we're just off the whole thing. He's been friends with them for years at this point, and Courtney knows.
Whoa. Years?
Yeah, they've been friends since sophomore year. That's 2 years. They're seniors.
She started the hunting and everything before she met him.
What is the type of... Say that? Okay, let me look at it.
She states that later, yeah. Because that's one of the reasons why she didn't tell him, is because he was new and she wasn't sure if she could trust him yet.
I think they knew each other because they've been friends since sophomore year. That's specifically stated. And maybe it's, oh, he's new. Like, I've just became friends.
So maybe they're juniors.
Maybe. School is not a thing they worry about. I have no idea what age they are.
Maybe they're in their junior year?
Because she's 17 and a half. Alice.
I mean, she could be 18 during her senior year.
I don't know. It depends when she was born.
Yeah.
Anyway, what type of year is this actually? I have no idea the concept of time at all. It's sometime during the school year.
Yeah, I don't know.
And it's Atlanta, so there are no weather cues whatsoever.
Oh, no. There is a cue. Because that girl, which I have a whole thing about that, the girl that got shot went to a football game, so it has to be somewhere around fall to winter.
Okay.
Because football season, which makes it even more confusing. So I don't know.
I have no idea. Anyway, so timeline aside, they've been friends for a really long time and he keeps getting tangentially involved and they're just like not going to tell him. It bothers me so much. So many things could have been solved
and avoided.
Also, she keeps going on almost dates with him. Anyway, that's beside the point.
But okay, I'm not going to get into that. Continue on.
To go back to her training and whatever, one thing I do have a question about, why does Hada only have one Dreamwalker? Like, the Duchess has two, and yeah, they're twins, but they're still two people. Shouldn't they have a whole army of them and not just one for the one of 4 portals?
I think that's a plot hole. I don't know.
I don't understand. Alice is getting run ragged, almost dies constantly. She could use some backup. That doesn't have to come all the way from Russia.
Let's get a Camp Half-Blood going here.
Let's go. let's get some friends. Sign. Not Courtney. Courtney's much better at, well, not much better, but she is capable of covering for Alice.
That birthday.
I get it, and I don't.
It made me hate her even more. That just sealed the deal.
There are some things I will give her. She is the middle child of 5 sisters, and her parents give zero craps about her or her siblings. So I totally understand birthdays being a really important thing. It's a really important thing for me.
She doesn't act like a middle child, though, in my opinion.
I don't know. I feel like it's one of two. Either you become a super people pleaser or you become like the most loud because no one's paying attention to you. But then again, we don't really see her with her family.
Yeah.
So she could act different around her family than she does her friends. So I get that a birthday is really important, but you can't be all, oh my gosh, this job is so important. You're literally saving the world, to being upset that she missed your birthday because she was saving the world.
Yeah.
It's like Spider-Man, the whole, oh no, my friends are disappointed in me. But they didn't know you were a superhero at that point.
Yeah.
When they find out you're a superhero, they're like, yeah, heck yeah, go. How can I help? I don't know. That's what got me the second time around.
This is what I mean. This is exactly what I mean, though, where I'm going through this whole book and I feel like her publisher sent her a rubric that had everything that she is required to have in this book to make it quote unquote good. And this is one of them. This felt super artificial. It makes me hate the best friend. But somewhere in this rubric that they gave her, they were like, oh, she needs to have a clashing between her Wonderland duties and her regular life. And she has to fight with her best friend.
Yeah, which I feel like she does fine with the mom.
I think it's all right.
I feel for Alice. I feel for the mom. So I don't like the Courtney drama because we already have the mom drama going on.
Yeah.
Like I said, it would have worked better if she didn't know she was saving the world, but the book starts with her being like, no, you can't quit. You have to save the world. And so that's where I'm like,
That's what makes me think that this is just artificially made. The character herself, Courtney, I don't feel like she would be mad about that, honestly. And the fact that I have to just accept that makes me not like her. I think the conflict between her and her mom is fine, but I feel like she has too many plot lines or scenarios going on in the real world.
Yeah, I felt like it had to be something where it's like, oh, I'm failing at everything, because I feel that as an adult. But I mean, teenagers all the time, gosh, I fail at freaking everything. My friends hate me. My parents hate me. The world hates me. Everything's going wrong. And so I feel like she was trying to get that vibe, but I don't know. Courtney just comes off as kind of a bad friend.
Yeah, and it's just one of those things where I feel like it's unnecessary. She was going for something that did not fit, and she tried to fit in, and it didn't go well. But I mean, I have a thing about, I guess it's used as a catalyst for her and her mom, where this girl got shot at this game, and they keep referring back to the girl.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a little, I guess, jarring every time she just brings it up out of the blue. She just keeps going back to it, keep going back to it. I don't see where this fits in the story.
So this is completely my brain making connections to things. I think there's something in it when she fights that horrible monster that she mentions a bunch of times, which I don't know how I feel about that, but
which we never got a chapter about or anything.
Yeah, I really wish we weren't told. Why did we have to see her first trip to Neverland, but we didn't see this fight?
Yes.
And granted, later on, there's a monster that looks like it, and so you get an idea of what it looked like, but I don't know. I would have preferred to see that instead of being told about it.
I agree.
But there is a connection there about why did that monster seem to affect Alice way more than it affected Dee and Dim. And I think because she is also scared of what that nightmare represents. I don't know. That could have been done better. And maybe I'm just the one making the connection. But that was one thing that I thought of.
I know I make the connection. It's just in my brain, I'm looking at it as, okay, this is being used as a catalyst for the conflict between her and her mom. That's fine. But I don't see how it progresses or adds to the rest of the story besides that. And if that's all it's being used for as a catalyst, then why do we keep going back to it, keep going back to it? Because even we get to the very final fight and they bring it up and it doesn't add anything to it.
I don't know. There was something scary about her going to the place where that happened. She's like, cool, I could also die here. But the thing that gets me with it, it goes back to the Courtney thing. Her mom is worried that she's literally dead because this other girl who was just living her life life got shot because she was in the wrong place at the wrong time. And so her mom's legitimate concerns for the safety of her daughter, who seems MIA and having clear issues.
Yeah.
And then you go to Courtney, who's mad about her birthday party.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense. To be honest, I say it was used as a catalyst. I don't think you need it as a catalyst for that type of conflict. You really don't.
I wish it was weaved into the plot better, because there's something there that would be really good, but I don't know if it's handled the best.
I don't know if, and this is just me kind of just going out there trying to figure it out, but maybe it's to explain kind of where she lives and the type of environment in which she lives in. Maybe I go through that thought process. I'm over here like, okay, I can kind of understand, but this is a fantasy book. And the thing about fantasy is you're trying to get away from the real world.
Urban fantasy. It does have the curtails there.
Yeah, I understand that. Okay, you have modern fantasy in Percy Jackson. And the thing about the fantasy aspect of this, or the storytelling aspect, is that you're supposed to have symbols in the book that represent real world problems. And then you overcome those real world problems, difficulties, whatever, through a fantastical means, superpowers, something like that. And it gives the reader a good feeling that it's like, oh, they can kind of relate that they have those problems and they can kind of envision themselves overcoming it. That's what books are known for doing. And this doesn't do that.
There's a book called Legendborn, which is also very, very popular, that has a lot of the same premises. I think that book handled racism as a topic in real world fantasy. I'm fighting monsters. It's honestly a little bit weird how many things overlap, but it's all tropes at the same time. So I'm not saying anyone copied anyone, but I think it definitely handled the racism better. It's ingrained into the book and it's done way better.
If you want her to overcome racism as a modern day problem, put that problem behind something she can overcome.
Yeah.
Like a villain or an obstacle or a character development moment in which she overcomes something like that. For someone who's just reading for entertainment and everything like that, it just doesn't do it for me. It breaks any type of immersion that I'm trying to get.
Yeah, I'm okay with books that have problems that are bigger than their characters.
Oh, yeah, of course. I mean, you have a lot of dystopian books that are like that.
Here's an example. In Legendborn, racism exists, and the main character experiences said racism. Alice doesn't really experience racism. Obviously, there's the concern with the girl that got shot, and oh my gosh, she looks just like me. She's around my same age, and the concern there. But Alice doesn't really experience any racism, and racism isn't really a subplot of anything.
No.
It's not really used to the best of effect, and I kind of wish it was. Even if it was just, oh my gosh, these nightmares are so much scarier to me because I can totally empathize with these nightmares versus Dee and Dim, who live in a completely different world. But I do agree that could have been used better.
It's just there, and I just don't think it was done well.
Yeah, it really did feel like it only came up when it was a subplot with her mom.
To just, get it out of the way, I just think this is a laziness thing. It was one of the first times when they went into the bar. Please, if you're going to describe people, don't just have a single word, their skin color, and then that's all you give me.
Which one?
They go into the pub and she refers to a pool table and two individuals are sitting there. I understand they're not relevant whatsoever at all, whatever. But be a little bit more creative than a white man and a black man. Blue collar worker, white collar worker just got off work and looks like he's trying to unwind. There's a lot of simple ways to describe people. It just seems very lazy to me. And she does this multiple times.
I wish she would have given more description because it would have said a lot about the bar, who the patrons are. She kind of mentioned Sprig, who I don't know if he becomes important later, but I don't know. I was curious, who comes here? Who's at this bar? There's a pool table and there's a bar.
Yeah, the only thing I was given who goes there was one of the guys shooting pool was a white guy and the one next to him was a black guy. That was it. I'm just sitting there like, that's it?
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure every other time we visit the bar, it's empty.
I don't know.
And maybe we see Spriggs one more time, but a lot of the time she goes to the bar and it's empty.
But my thing is just at least give me an age range. So I know if these are much older gentlemen coming to this bar and that you just have this 17-year-old walking in here, waltzing in.
17 and a half.
17 16-and-a-half-year-old girl walking through here and going into the back and then coming out sometimes with bloodied bandages, limping late at night. Excuse me.
That is true, because there's no very obvious time periods. So sometimes she's like, oh, I could be gone for a week or a day or an hour.
Yes.
And so you've got a point. Sometimes she's coming back when the fire's open.
And I'll go over here like, do none of these gentlemen that go to this establishment think it's a little odd and are a little concerned?
Because she makes it clear she's never stayed a night at the bar, because when she stays a night, she's like, oh, this is so weird. I've never done this before. I've never thought about that. That's hilarious.
That's a whole different thing. But she describes multiple people just by their skin color and maybe one other description. And if you want to describe people by their skin color, that's perfectly fine. I just think there's a lot more creative ways than just white and black.
But can we talk about how Maddie's eye color changes constantly, and I'm jealous?
That is cool as AF, actually.
I am so jealous.
Every time she blinks, apparently.
Every time she blinks, it's a new color. And I do kind of like how she describes that action. She said to me with her blue, brown, and then something. I can't do it exactly, but I like how it's done.
Yeah, I like Maddie a lot.
I like Maddie. I wish she was kind of used more, because I do like her so much.
Yes. Her, Hada, I feel like needs to be in this more.
Yeah.
For such a crucial character, and for someone who the main character cares about a lot, he takes a back seat, I feel like.
Yeah, they felt more like ground control than...
Yeah, Chess should have been in this way more. I feel like he was not done justice. I didn't like the character. I think he should have been done better.
He kept playing the role of, okay, I'll talk to Courtney for you, more than a real genuine friendship seemed to be there.
Yeah.
Because he is very even-tempered about the fact that his friend is very clearly keeping secrets from them, and Courtney's mad about it. He's so chill when they tell him what happened. I'm just like, why didn't you tell him earlier? We could solve so many problems.
Also, Anastasia, what's her name? The Countess?
Anastasia Petrov, yeah. The Duchess.
The Duchess, thank you. I like her more than I like the main character.
I do think she's very interesting.
I want to know more about her. And I honestly am rooting for her and Hada to get together, not Alice and Hada. I'm going to be honest.
That would be interesting. I don't know. I'm so bad on picking up vibes, though. Literally the meme of, and they were friends is me. But I don't know. I didn't buy it that they were like romance material. I just felt like they were really old friends.
I want them to.
Okay.
I don't think they have. They kind of have.
I would be more interesting in Hada and Maddie.
All right. The thought I had going through this, as soon as the Black Knight appeared, I instantly was like, oh, wait, is this Hada? Is this how the madness, like the Mad Hatter, come out? He has different personalities. He has the Black Knight and then Hada.
How does it feel to be half right?
Half right, yeah.
He is the Black Knight, just not that Black Knight.
I was so disappointed. I was so bad.
Really? I saw that coming.
I wanted him to be the villain. And then their whole romance was like, she's trying to save him. And this is what's making me kind of want to continue. I still have hope for that plot line.
I'm very curious who that is.
I still have hope. She could try. She can finagle this. She can make this so, you know?
Okay, that's not going to happen.
And I want Anastasia to go evil. And then they're a couple. And then Alice has to overcome that.
Wow, dude. You're just setting yourself up for disappointment with that.
And then Alice is obviously bitter about it. And then they have to somehow work it out where she saves Hada. And then she has to overcome.
You are writing fan fiction at this point.
I am. But I want this plot line so bad.
Oh my gosh, why couldn't Hermione and Draco get together?
I want it so bad. Eventually, Alice and Hada will get together, but I want this to happen because I think it's so much more interesting. I think the writing on it could be so much more fun to do.
You're like, you know what sounds great? An entirely different book.
No.
To talk about the Black Knight, the reason Chess didn't bother me is because the Black Knight was a creep.
Yes.
The audiobook narrator, the voice actor is just Mwah. I love it. All of her voices are so good.
They were actually pretty good, yeah.
And the voice she has for the Black Knight, oh, my skin crawled every time he talked. It was so good.
I liked it because how well done it was. From the voice acting side and the dialogue side, I was like, oh yes, this is a good villain. I like how she did that, but I wanted Hannah to be him because throughout the whole book, I was like, they're never in the same place. They're never in the same place. It could happen. And then the final freaking battle scene.
I think you set yourself up for disappointment.
Oh, no. I was crying so much. And then I still was in denial.
Oh my gosh, boo-boo.
I was in denial. I was like, she can work around this. It could still happen.
Oh my gosh. Let me know how that Hermione Draco fanfic comes along.
Wait, that would have been so much better, actually. Wait a moment.
Oh my goodness. That fan fiction is alive and well if you would like to join. So let's loop back to wherever the heck I want to be.
I have a hard time with romance books where, like in this one, it's a very good example. She never goes into her mind and does an internal dialogue with herself or whatever.
Oh yeah, she is not in her body, for sure.
She never justifies or describes why she's into him past his looks.
Rose wants a 17-year-old girl.
Okay, I understand, but just something. Please, just something.
But he's a good listener. He's nice. He's sweet.
Yes, but she never says that. She never does anything that tells me she appreciates that. Her noticing that could just make the biggest difference. And so she does this with him and Hada. And the only reason I get from her that she likes these guys is because they're good looking and she was in their arms at one point. Any guy could flirt with this girl who is hot.
Except the Black Knight.
Well, for obvious reasons.
That guy's creepy as all get out.
For obvious reasons. But any hot guy could show up and flirt with her and she'd be like, I'm down. What the heck? Is there nothing you like past their looks? Can you just give me something, please? Some interaction between Hada and her? I understand there's more because you start to look and judge the person and you don't continue liking someone for a long period of time unless there's something that attracts you more than just their looks.
Okay, that's true. But as an initial crush, there's not much more.
Yeah, but she's known these people for a long time. Hada and Chess.
Yes. We have no idea how long with Chess.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm still thinking 2 years.
But please, you've been with these people. You're still attracted to both of them. So there has to be something in this amount of time where you have decided that you find this attractive as well. Please give me something. Or an interaction that is not flirty, that's that subtle attraction. You get what I mean?
There are definitely things where there should be more than just attraction long term.
Yeah, he's supposed to be kind, right?
But what is the length of this book? Like a week?
Well, time's finicky, obviously. I don't know.
Real world time. I'm going to give it a week.
I think 2 weeks. No, at most 2 weeks.
I will give a max 2 weeks, but a lot happens really fast.
Yeah, but he's supposed to be super kind and understanding.
Yeah.
So why not make that something?
She would have to give him more screen time, honestly.
I mean, he's supposed to be a love interest. There's supposed to be 2 love interests here that are fighting over her, and you're giving both of them hardly any screen time at all. And I'm over here like, please stop it with the mother. I want less of the mother and more of the boys. Give me the boys.
I want less of Courtney. I think the mom was pretty good.
I think the amount that the mom got was decent and all right, but come on, I want the boys. I want more of the boys.
And Courtney's kind of, even though she's encouraging it, she is kind of a clot, because how many scenes where, oh, me and Chess were waiting on Courtney and we were getting cute, and then Courtney showed up to drive us home.
Yeah.
Dang it, Courtney. I know which one's your favorite, but gosh.
Also, where are the cops in Atlanta? How do they not get pulled over at least once? Because apparently this girl's driving is insane.
I feel so bad for Chess. First First of all, here's one of the examples of him being nice. He is the tallest out of them, and he takes the back seat.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I wonder if it's somewhere in the middle, where Chess might be overreacting, but also Courtney's a terrible driver.
While we're on the subject of Courtney and Chess, did you find it odd or a little weird that when she comes back and she sent the text and whatever, she came back with the princess, Chess was just hanging out with Courtney on a weekend, sitting next to her?
No.
And she went to go, I think, shower or something like that? Or they were on the couch somewhere or something? Where were they? What were they doing? I thought that was weird.
I think they were over at Courtney's house.
Yeah, but I don't know. That's a little weird. And then I had in my notes, I was like, oh, is Chess trying to get them both?
No, I don't think he wants Courtney. I think he's terrified of Courtney.
It comes back around where it's like, okay, maybe not. But there were a few times where I called him Bonnie, and then he was like, only if I can call you Clyde, or something like that. Or no, call you Clyde, only if I can call you Bonnie. And I was like, huh? I felt like that was flirting.
I don't know, man. To me, it just came off as the guy stuck in a girl group, and Courtney was just having a venting session about Alice. They only have 2 friends here, apparently. So it's like, well, I can't talk to Alice, so I have kidnapped you, basically. Slightly against his will. But no, I had so many guy friends.
I don't know.
And maybe I'm just the worst at noticing things, but
I don't know. If I heard that, I'd be like, bro, were you trying to get with her? That's going to be my number one reaction. That sounds like straight up flirting to me.
I didn't get the vibes.
I don't know. I don't think it was done on purpose after finishing, but I don't know.
You were side-eyeing. I noticed. Thinking the worst of him.
I have no problem with that.
You ain't tied down. Go for whoever you can get.
He's not dating either of them. If he wants to go for both, he can. Go for it. Power to you, bro.
Until it goes terribly wrong.
It will go terribly wrong, almost assuredly. He's young. He'll figure it out, and then he'll adjust from there.
So the story of this book, she is out and about in Wonderland and goes to fight off a nightmare. And we haven't even mentioned Dee and Dim. I kind of loved that interpretation because a bunch of them are obviously characters. So Alice is Alice in Wonderland, Hatta is the Mad Hatter, Chess is the Cheshire Cat. You have the Red Queen, the White Queen, Queen of Hearts that kind of became the Black Queen, and Tweedledee and Tweedledum. I love the twins. I would like a spin-off of the twins.
I like the twins too. I think the Russian aspect was just a given, just fits.
Their last name is Tweedle, I can't pronounce it, but Tweedledov. Their dad's name is Tweedle. I can't.
The only thing, I like the twins a whole lot. I think the author, again, was a little lazy. If they're going to have conversations in Russian or say phrases in Russian, just get a Russian friend, ask them to translate for you, and then put it in.
I was going to ask, because they do say Russian phrases sometimes. How accurate was it?
It's all right.
Just go get yourself a Russian friend. Wait a second.
Yeah. Well, okay, listen, she lives in Atlanta, right? The author. There's a huge Russian population in Atlanta.
There is. I'm just saying it's not an everyday friendship.
There's ways.
Anyway, how is the Russian?
It was mediocre. I mean, the accents are your basic Hollywood accents, so they're trash, but you know.
Poor voice actress. Give her a break.
No, the voice actress did the best she could. I have nothing against the voice actress at all. It's the word choice in the dialogue. There are certain connecting words in English that Russian skips. It's very straightforward. If you do direct translations, it comes across as more caveman-ish, if you get what I mean.
I mean, in all honesty, she probably used Google Translate.
If you just straight up get full direct translation, a lot of them will be this rude. Not this is rude, this rude. So those connecting little words that English has, Russian doesn't bother with. So if you wanted to do accurate Russian accents, you would take away a lot of those words in certain scenarios, but it wasn't terrible. It's nothing worse than Hollywood's done. So, but I encourage the author to find a native speaker and then talk to them, and they can easily point you in the right direction. It doesn't take long.
I don't know. We're 3 books in at this point.
Nah, well, but I love the twins.
They were very cute.
How old are the twins?
They are teenagers.
That's what I thought.
We are not given a specific age. I consider them 19, but they've been doing this since they were like 13.
I had them as younger.
Not much. Because they make it really clear they've done it for a while.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because by the time we meet him, we're a year and 3 months into Alice's training, and she's like, yeah, they've been here way longer than I have. But what counts as way longer to a 17-and-a-half-year-old?
Maybe she does clarify this, but in my mind, I had him as a lot younger, 16 or something like that.
Okay, that's
15, 16, something like that.
I would say it's closer to 16, because she does make a comment about how sexy they look, and I don't think she would make that comment if they were way younger.
Well, yeah, that's another thing that creeps me out. Apparently, Courtney watches them fight, and she's a total pervert over here watching them fight.
Yeah.
She's over here like that anime character that's breathing heavy with the hot air coming out, drooling a little bit. I'm over here like, this is creepy.
Yeah, it's her archetype.
This is super, super creepy. And this is the same girl that said...
This is the girl that said man me.
Yes, that said man me and age is only a number. And I'm over here like, oh my God, what is going on?
She has a problem.
Whoa, can we get rid of this? This is bad. I am concerned.
But yeah, so she's in Wonderland, just saw the twins, and she's headed back when a Black Knight shows up and is like, hey, I'm here to screw some stuff up, and cuts her hand, and then that ends up somehow giving a madness to Hada.
Yeah, because it transfers over when he touches it.
Yeah, and so then he gets the madness, which I really wish she did more with, because I'm still confused what the madness is.
Yeah, what are the effects besides, I guess, being unconscious?
He's unconscious, and then at one point he attacks Maddie, but was he attacking Maddie? It was very confusing, and I still have questions, and I would have liked to know that more. But we are too busy going on my least favorite type of mission, where we go to a place just to learn we should go back.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. You just unleashed. Yep. Here we go. All right.
The only vantage point of, okay, well, this was a trip worth it. Because I've read books where it's like we have to go to the place and then go back immediately. All of this was pointless. They get a member of the royal family, which was what they need to activate the eye. Oh, by the way, there's a heart and an eye that they have to get to heal Hada. They need the eye to find the heart because backstory. Read the book if you want to find out. Because apparently we're not talking about that.
Well, the Black Queen was apparently defeated, okay? This is a plot flaw that I'm just going to point out here, okay? So apparently, the Black Queen, which was really bad, she became the Black Queen because one of her daughters died from a nightmare. She blames humanity, okay? She was defeated and killed, presumably. But there's these two items, the eye and the heart,
which she used. They're magical items that she used. The eye can allow you to see anything or anyone. The heart is a little...
It transforms people.
Yeah, it's more up to interpretation. They use the heart to turn people back from being not nightmares, but the other thing, fiends. They turned fiends. So there's nightmares, which is just bad energy, bad juju. And then there are fiends, which the Black Knight uses his sword to turn humans into monsters. So those are fiends. So they use the heart to turn fiends back into humans.
Yeah.
Some sort of restorative property.
Yeah. But anyways, there's these two magic items. And apparently she can be resurrected if you get these two magic items. And my thing is, her whole purpose of going mad was because she was trying to get her daughter back. If she can be resurrected with these two items, why couldn't she bring her daughter back? Because there's obviously power that can resurrect people. And she had access to.
I thought she tried.
Because she is able to resurrect. So why was she not able to bring back her daughter? You get what I mean?
I thought she tried.
Yeah, she tried.
Wasn't there? There wasn't a body.
There was.
Oh, no, there was a body. No, there wasn't a body.
Yeah, because there was a casket.
Okay, so yeah, it's the original Alice that didn't have a body because, Alice is real as well. And she and the princess were playing one day and then they both got killed. Well, the original Alice disappeared. And she's the reason that Wonderland and the human world are connected somehow. Questions, but internet. And so they did find the princess.
Yeah.
And yeah, I thought that's the the reason she became the Black Queen, was she was trying to resurrect her.
Yeah, my thing is her whole purpose was to resurrect her daughter. We now learned that the Black Queen can be resurrected with these two items. That means there is magic that she was able to obtain that can resurrect people. So why wasn't she able to resurrect her daughter?
Honestly, at this point, I'd have to remember plot lines, but
it just doesn't make sense to me. It seems like a plot hole.
My memory is telling me she tried to, but couldn't figure out, but now it seems like the Black Knight can do that. Either that, or it has to do with her being kind of part nightmare herself.
Okay, maybe. I feel like it needs to be explained in the second book. If it's not, then I'd be a little disappointed.
Yeah, I feel like it has to talk more about the Black Queen in the second book.
Going back to my gamer references, I felt like this trip, I was playing a game, I was given a quest to go to this place and do this thing, and then I found out later, oh, there was this other quest where I was previously that I could have gotten done, which I'm now going to have to backtrack in order to go get done. And it's one of those things where it's just frustrating and annoying that I have to go all the way back in order to continue on.
I don't know. I've played video games where you get a quest to go to this place, and then when you get there, you're like, oh crap, the thing we were looking for was there all along, and so you have to go back.
I didn't appreciate this.
I hate this with a burning passion. And like I said, the only caveat I give it, because I was like, why was that even in the stupid book? They had to get Odette. It works out. But Odette's kind of annoying and I hate her. So...
Same.
I love her knight.
Her knight's cool. I like her knight a lot.
And I love the princess knight trope and whatever, although they don't play it up until the very end. And I'm just like, I want more of that. This is really weird coming from me. I wanted more romance in this book. You set up so many good romances and then don't use them.
I know, right?
That feels weird to say.
Give me more of the boys and the girls. Come on.
That was a weird way to say that.
I mean...
So they go to Odette's castle and then blah, 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 Odette stuff. And then they bring her back because Alice, I think, realizes the eye is wherever Hatta is. Because the Black Knight's like, give me the eye. And he's like, I don't have the eye. And Alice is like, holy crap, he totally had the eye.
Can we talk about this for a second? How does she just make that connection? Can someone explain that to me?
I don't know. It seemed logical to me.
Yeah, but she's been pretty clueless about a lot of stuff throughout this book.
She's been very trusting, yes.
And she just all of a sudden just has a epiphany.
She was a lot calmer about it than I would have been. Granted, she has a crush on him and he's dying, but I would have been so much madder if he was like, oh, I don't have the eye. And then I had to go do this quest. Granted, he didn't know I was doing this quest, but I had to go on this huge quest and fight fiends and nightmares and almost die. And I get back and I'm just like, you had it the entire time? I would have been bad.
Yeah, but I don't know. It seemed really weird that we're sitting there in that scene and she just all of a sudden knows this. And it's like, all right, whoop-de-doo, it's time to go all the way back. This is what I mean by it felt artificial. This did not feel fluid. This did not feel natural.
To add to that, it doesn't help that things like the Duchess explains they can use the heart, and then the next chapter, Maddie has to re-explain that they have to use the heart. And maybe that was a continuity error that didn't get picked up, but there are moments where she has to get things explained to her several times in great detail. Or, for example, she can go to Wonderland and all the craziness that happens there, but she goes into Hatta's room and is freaked out because a painting can move.
See, it's stuff like this.
And she referenced Harry Potter at some point.
Yeah.
It's not even like, oh, I've never even heard of these things. That's so crazy.
Yes.
She's gobsmacked by this painting that it can move.
Yes. I swear these side characters think she's dumb.
I mean, she's a little bit.
Yes, that's what I mean. She just all of a sudden is like, I know exactly where it is. Hatta lied the whole time.
Here's another thing that also doesn't help. She's so dumb. There are so many times where the Black Knight does something super obvious and she's like, what?
Yes! Yes! I don't know. I don't think she would have made that.
And there are several times where Alice was like, oh, I'll never let him do it again. And then she falls right into his trap over and over again. And I'm just like, girl, what did we just talk about? What did we just plan for? Not to fall for his tricks again. And you're immediately like, let me fall for his tricks. Yeah, that doesn't help at all.
And then they're traveling back. And here's another thing that, like I said, feels artificial, pushed, not natural, is that the whole, they don't have the horses anymore. Now they have to make a run for it.
No care for those horses. What happens to them? They just run out. Oh, they'll go back to the palace.
Oh, they'll make their way back.
What did we just get? What? We just fought fiends.
Oh, those horses died 100%. Anyways.
What?
But this is a trope, right? This is 100% a trope where they lost the horses. Now they got to run it and book it as they're being chased down. This is 100% a overused trope. And I'm over here like, is this really the best you could have come up with? I don't know. The whole leave me behind. I'll fight them off with the knight and everything. I'm like, come on.
Oh, yeah.
Like I haven't seen or heard or read about this a million times. Come on.
Granted, the only caveat I will give with that, it is a YA, and you would be surprised what people have not experienced yet.
You make a fair point.
That's my only caveat.
You make a fair point, but
everyone's got to enter at some point.
I'm not dogging on the trope necessarily. It's just all the past stuff where it felt artificially rushed and put in makes this feel the same way.
You just think it's cliche.
Yeah, I think this whole thing, if I was to sum it up, I think this whole thing is basic, a little boring, irritating. And like I said, she just went through a rubric and that was it. If I was back in the whatever grade reading the hero's journey and we had to come up with a mini hero's journey sort of deal, okay, I would come up with that and then write this book off that. That's what it feels like. And I'm just not for it.
So they get Odebeth and the knight and they get back to the bar because that's the entrance, the portal of the West, which by the way, there's also a portal in South Africa and Japan.
Apparently. Why Japan?
She had to pick something. She picked Russia for North.
Yeah, but Japan and Russia are really close to each other. Why didn't we go like Thailand or Australia?
I mean, why was it Atlanta, Georgia?
That's because that's where the author's from, obviously.
I wonder if it is. I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't, because she does bring up some Atlanta stuff, like you said.
Yeah, and she brings up Georgia State as well. I think she probably went there.
She lives in Kansas City.
But yeah, Japan and Russia are pretty close to each other, actually, geographically speaking. So why wouldn't she just do Australia?
I'd have to look at a longitudinal, but that's pretty close to the South Gate, latitude-wise, isn't it?
Okay, then India or southern China.
I mean, if you're going to do that, you could also point out that South Africa isn't the most south country. Like, you could do Chile.
Yeah, Chile. Argentina has penguins that come over.
New Zealand has blue penguins. But I mean, it's just because she picked a country that sounded cool. Like, let's be honest. Because she wanted it to be. Why not? She had to pick some country.
I guess.
And depending on where in Russia, I will give it that. Depending on where in Russia, you could be pretty far away from Japan. It doesn't say where they're from, but like St. Petersburg is really west.
If they're from St. Petersburg, she really, really needs to actually get a Russian friend that's native speaker from St. Petersburg. St. Petersburg and Moscow have a little rivalry going on.
This book is not being translated into Russian.
I know, but what I'm saying is their accents are pretty different too. They have slang themselves that are different, and they both think that their cities are better than each other. So that could have been a little tidbit of information she could have thrown in there.
I don't know. Russia's a very big country.
Very big.
They're probably from St. Petersburg.
Probably.
Kata briefly mentions his past with the war. Dramatic sparkles. That's his backstory. There was the war. And they go into it enough where you get enough information, but that's such a trope too.
And he was the Black Knight.
I think the reason I like this book is because, yeah, it uses a lot of tropes, but it's all the tropes I like, so it works out.
I don't mind tropes, but spice them up a little bit. Change them a little bit, you know?
Nah, this is perfect.
or make them flow better and not so obvious. I don't know. I compared this book a lot to the Percy Jackson book, Lightning Thief, and how it did its urban fantasy, and it's just, I think it does so much better. And it does its own tropes too, but I mean, it's just not as obvious.
Well, they find out the eye is pieces of mirror that Hada gave to a bunch of people, and basically it's a communication device where you can talk to other people by looking in through the looking glass and whatnot.
I 100% thought it was one of the eyes in the cat clock. I don't know why.
That's the theory. I forgot about it, honestly.
Because she mentioned it so many times, the cat clock, of how the tail is going back and forth and everything like that. And I was like, she's been mentioning this all book long, right? It's got to be where the eye is. One of the cat's eyes is the eye, right?
That's too little.
I know, but everything else has been so basic. I was like, it's just got to be.
Odabeth cast a spell where she can find the pieces are on a line.
So convenient, isn't it?
I have questions because the sixth one, and it takes Alice way too long to remember this.
Yes!
The sixth piece is in her locker because she brought it with her to school and then stuff happened, and so she left it in her locker. And so they have to go to school, but Courtney is driving and following this line that they say sometimes, I think, disappears. What? And they go and they get to the school and she's like, oh crap, it's in my locker. And Chess, honey, I have questions. I have so many questions that your friends did not ask because they were not about to look a gift horse in the mouth. But Chess knows how to break into places.
This did bring him up, in my opinion. I was like, all right, I'm starting to like this guy a little bit more, even though he's a little creepy.
Honey child, I have questions. And he's like, yeah, it helped me at my old school. Brushes it off.
Well, he does say someone bet him to do it.
Yeah, bet him to do it. That doesn't automatically make you good at breaking into places. He has tools.
Yeah, he has legitimate tools. He knows what he's doing. He disarmed the alarm for 20-something minutes or something like that.
Yeah, he knows security systems.
Bro, excuse me?
Baby boy.
You went into this thing and turned a few wires and everything? Hold on.
This is more than a bet at this point.
Hold on. You're not fooling nobody. Mm-mm.
I have a list of questions because they're like, no, we can't wait till tomorrow. If they waited, it might have turned out differently and better. She acts the most suspicious. She knows the Black Knight's following her around. So she acts the most suspicious by being like, yeah, let's break into the school. And so the Black Knight's like, okay, cool. So that's definitely where that is. Anyway, there's a moment where she has to go home and then she's going to sneak out again. And I gotta give it to the mom. The mom's really grounded. All of her punishments are reasonable, and there's still elements where her child can rebuild trust. It's not just punishments like, oh, you're grounded for forever or whatever. It's like, you're grounded for this long, and then we're going to work at getting your trust back by doing stuff. Very good parenting.
It's definitely that mom state where your past punishments might have been pretty harsh, but now that they're getting older, the mom's probably scared to punish her too much because then when she's actually old enough to move out, she's never going to talk to her again, sort of deal.
Well, it's also, she's about to be an adult. She's about to have to take care of herself.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just thought about that as a mom. I was like, what would I do if my child was just sneaking out at all times of night, no idea where they're going, suddenly really secretive and acting dodgy? What would I do as a parent to be like, I'm concerned about the path you're going on? Because Alice doesn't tell her crap.
Mm-hmm.
All the excuses are really obvious ones that the mom's buying for the sake of domestic bliss, honestly. She gives her so many chances and options. The mom's pretty cool. I don't know how about teenagers feel about this, but I'm just like, you're being a great mom, honestly. So there you go.
Yeah, I kept waiting to see where the whole mom thing was gonna end up.
Okay, here's the thing, because that's basically the last time I think you see the mom.
Yeah.
My memory lied. I thought I remembered a chapter where, and she does break down because she goes near her dad's tools, and it's a lot for her grief, and that's fair. I really feel the adults around her are grieving something, so she felt like she needed to be their rock instead of vice versa. Grief is a complicated and terrible thing. But I totally remembered her breaking down and having a moment and just being like, I miss dad or something, and she's starting to grieve, and her mom being like, oh yeah, this is why she's been acting so weird and acting out, is because she's going going through the grieving process. That doesn't happen. I don't know where my mind got that from. Maybe it was in Legendborn and I just scooped it over to this book. But that does not happen in this book. They don't make up or anything. It's just kind of left open.
She does do what you're kind of talking about, where she goes into the garage and she cries and everything like that. Her mom gets home and they have like a little bit of a scenario where like she's concerned. But there's no real talk heart to heart like you're talking about.
No, they do not come to any understanding.
And now she's taking off again?
Yeah, it's bad.
And now, at the end of the book, there's a lot of stuff that's going to make that even more complicated.
But apparently her home life is only important for 2 seconds in the next book. I don't know.
Yeah. I just thought we were going to come to a conclusion.
We did not. I was shocked when I got to the end of this book. Okay, there's like 3 chapters left. I'm sure next chapter. No, I guess this next chapter. Oh, well, they saved it for the end. Who in the world did my mind make up? I was so confused when I got to the end. But anyway, they break into the school. They get the thing. And then now the Black Knight is there with fiends. And so at this point, she's finally told Chess what's going on because they need him to be involved. I'm just saying, you're considering dating him, but you won't tell him what you're doing. Anyway, so many things could have been solved. That's beside the point. So they go there and they're trying to run away. And I go back and forth on whether I like the scrolling, walking on the ledge outside scene.
It's whatever.
If we had more than one Dreamwalker, maybe they could have helped us out here. But no, everyone stayed. Even the twins stayed back because just in case he goes, the Black Knight is not going to the bar.
Here's my thing. All right. This is why, way back at the beginning, this is why I do not like the fact that she just gets superpowers just for going to Wonderland. Because I'm over here like...
She doesn't use it enough.
My mid-maxing self would be like, send your friends through. Just have them pop in and then pop right back out. And then boom, you got superpowers. That's it? That's all it takes?
Except she doesn't ever use it in the real world. Because it's like you said, Chess gets unconscious and she has a hard time carrying him.
Yeah, that's what I just don't understand. Can someone explain this to me?
And it's not specifically said, oh, I only have these in Wonderland because Wonderland is Wonderland.
No, because then she talks about how she can make the jump and be perfectly fine.
But she's worried about her friends because they're on a second story, which we have learned is 14 feet up.
Yeah, and so she is over here like, I can make the jump, I can roll out it just fine because I have these superpowers. And I'm over here like, you know what? In a lot of these scenarios, superpowers would be very useful, but you don't ever use them.
Yeah, what happened to being able to run really far and jump really high?
And be stronger and everything like that.
I think she's able to boost him the first time all by herself.
Oh, come on. That's nothing. This boy is not heavy. I guarantee you, this boy is at most, let's say, like 170, 180. Maybe. I don't know. That's not superpower. You know what I mean? That's not superpower worthy.
But I'm just saying, she's able to really easily boost him up, but she can't carry him.
See, in my mind, you're going superpower. Okay, you got Spider-Man strength. I want to see Spider-Man reflexes, Spider-Man strength, Spider-Man speed, you know?
I want to see you scaling some walls.
You don't have to do that, but something. At least, like I said, Percy Jackson's got skills.
Oh, but the scene, oh yeah, the way she wrote it got me both times in my soul. Courtney jumps into bushes. There's 3 of them. Courtney's in front. She jumps into the bushes. Chess is afraid of heights, which is accurate because every tall boy I have ever met has a fear of heights.
Okay.
Every single one of them.
Okay.
You, sir, have a fear of heights.
Okay, I'm going to be completely honest here. Yes, I am afraid of heights. I will preface this. I am crazy. For anyone listening, I used to pole vault in high school. My highest jump was 17 feet. So, might be biased here, but if my life was on the line, I think I can jump 14 feet down and take maybe a sprained ankle or something if my life depended on it. I don't know what's up with this guy. Come on.
I don't completely get it, but I try to give people grace when I don't understand. We've had this conversation prior with my husband who's scared of needles, but he's like, yeah, I can get a shot if I need to. But there are people out there. That is an ordeal.
Listen, I don't care what phobia you have. If your life is on the line, like what they were having, you know, with those monsters coming.
He does jump, though. He and Alice jump together.
You do not hesitate as much as he did. And there's no pep talk or anything. You take it.
But that aside, he does jump. They jump together. And you're like, cool, they made it to the ground. And Alice, like, falls into the tree. She's like, ow, that hurt. Where's Chess? And she looks above, and he has Chess!
It was a cool scene. I just have a problem with Come on, dude. If it were me, she wouldn't have to tell me. I'm jumping.
But the getting the chest was what I was like, but they jumped together. Oh no, it is coming. I thought this was hilarious. And he just straight up turns Chess into a fiend.
Oh man, this author got so much props to me. This changed my rating of the book entirely.
Whatever.
No. This is not because I thought Chess was creepy or anything like that. I just respect authors that are willing to kill off characters with no remorse.
Oh man, kill. Quote unquote.
I mean, yeah. I was a little disappointed at the epilogue, but
real world consequences. I will say that.
Yes, I respect authors that will have real world consequences.
It just makes me sad. Poor Chess. Here's the part. It's been like love triangle, will they, won't this whole time. So now that Chess has been turned into a fiend and it's canon, you basically lose all your humanity. You're a monster. And if you're a fiend for too long, they have to kill you. That is the only thing they can do with fiends. So now it's Hada is dealing with a mysterious madness versus Chess is a fiend. She picks Hada so fast.
This is one of those things where I'm like, wow, that was fast.
So fast.
We went 0 to 100. I was like, are they gonna bang?
It's literally like, oh, our hands brush. Oh, I thought he was so handsome. It's like that level. Oh, he wraps his arms around me and I leaned into him and it was kind of nice. And oh, we almost kissed. Maybe we'll go on a date. That level to full on making out with Hada out of nowhere.
She described his hands going places that made her feel certain things. And I'm over here like, are they gonna bang?
Not in Hawaii.
I don't know about that. I was just like, oh my gosh.
So they go back to the bar and it's her, Alice, and Courtney. And Alice is like, I'm not going to mention the Black Knight because, I don't know, whatever. Courtney doesn't mention the Black Knight because if I was Courtney and had her personality, the first thing out of my mouth when I walked through the door would be like, the Black Knight almost killed us. Yeah,
that was a little inconsistency. I agree with you on that.
And there's the moment with Duchess where, oh, he almost attacked Maddie. And then the Duchess is like, you're talking about Chess. Well, the Duchess and Hada, their relationship is very intimate.
I know. That's why I want to see more of it.
She lays him down, puts her forehead on his forehead.
I'm going to be honest. That scene was hot.
Ew.
What?
Maybe it's just Hada. Bruh, you are the problem.
Her taking charge like that and then getting up and taking care of him like that when he's going crazy.
Okay, maybe here's my thing. I like the Duchess a lot. I don't want her with Hada. She deserves better than Hada.
I know.
I'm the opposite of you.
Your girl, Anastasia, she can stick with me. She can come over here in the real world. I'll take her.
Ew. Ew.
Ew. I'm joking.
No, she's hot. It's wasted on Hada, so that's why I couldn't get into it.
You're right. You know what? I have a change of heart. Anastasia and Alice. Boom.
No. I don't like her.
Oh, you don't like Alice? You like the book, but you don't like the main character? Excuse me?
I said you don't like Alice.
Okay.
You don't like Alice.
Wait.
You're the one hating on Alice.
Wait.
So why would you want Anastasia and Alice to get together?
I got it.
I was thinking Anastasia has an...
Anastasia and the Knight.
That's what I was just about to say.
That's what you're about to say?
I would be interested in the Anastasia and the Black Knight if the Black Knight was like a romance from her past.
And the princess.
Goodness, you are greedy.
Yes, all three. Boom. I'd read that.
No, Odebeth and the White Knight is very cute. So they're back at the bar. Odebeth does the spell thing, and then, okay, here's the thing. They've been throwing in, which we briefly mentioned at the beginning and then never mentioned again, briefly been throwing in that Alice seems to have some sort of connection to Wonderland. And I'm wondering if it's like, oh, you're the soul of the lost princess. Your soul moved to the real world and then you were born or something like that. I don't know. Maybe she's like a fourth queen, a purple queen, because she has purple stuff.
I mean, there's 4 queens, right, for each of the suits. So maybe she's the spades or something? I don't know.
There's a spade on the cover of the book, right? And on the cover of the next book is a heart.
I don't know. I was thinking, I don't know, maybe because time is funky and everything, she was the original, like, girl that went there, and then she doesn't remember it somehow.
It's definitely something.
I was thinking possibly that, but I mean, the soul of the princess could be interesting as well.
The first book has the Queen of Hearts, the King of Hearts, and the Knave of Hearts, which I think is the Jack. And then it's followed by Through the Looking Glass, which is when they introduced the Red Queen and the Red King and the White King and the White Queen. But there's no fourth.
Okay, well.
We have options. Because it was supposed to be the colors of the suits, you know. Cards are red, white.
Yeah.
Anyway, so something happens and she reaches through the looking glass and grabs a staff.
Oh, the eye?
With the eye, yeah.
Yeah. This was just all very convenient, I guess.
It came all at once. We spent like 3 chapters on Alice and Courtney getting back together. All of a sudden, she has the eye. All the Wonderlands feel it. So, of course, the Black Knight feels it, but they're not going to say anything. They use the eye to find the heart, which she displays a path to Capel Find-S.
The castle of the Red Queen, yes.
Yeah. And the heart is in the throne room, which we're not going to come back to in this book. I'm pretty sure that's why the next book is red and has a heart, because they're going to that castle to find the heart to save Hada. But Hada decides at this point that it's time for them to have a heart-to-heart. And Alice is like, oh no, I screwed up. And he's like, no, it's not you, it's me. And that's when the makeout happens. And I'm just like, Chess is a fiend. Time and place.
Yeah.
I couldn't get into it because I'm just like, wow, that's a really crappy thing to do to Chess right now. His life is on the line, and you guys are just making out.
Yes! You voiced it!
And then the Duchess walks in on them and whatever, and is her usual self with Hada, and Alice is jealous. That's the thing about all their scenes. It's marred with Alice being jealous. And I'm just like, girl, talk to him. Communication. If you had done that with literally anyone, it's such a common trope to just not communicate, and I can't. Anyway.
The time and place kills me, but you voiced it exactly. That was my whole gripe. Time and place. Come on. This man is dying. You saw a sword go through him.
I don't get it.
There has to be some type of build-up to it.
It really is out of nowhere. And it's just like, why? Why now?
You had all of the book. The entire book.
Anyway, they're going to make the Black Knight thing. They're doing the deal. But really, they're just going to try to get Chess away from him.
This is such a half plan.
To be fair, though, at least it's a freaking plan. The rest of the time, it's just, oh, I won't fall for his tricks next time.
This is just so the stereotypical plan, though. And it's hardly thought out at all. It's just like, yeah, that's our game plan.
But here's the thing. They're going to fight the Black Knight, and both the Duchess and the twins stay behind to guard the princess. He's not going to the bar. Where's the guy in the East Gate and the South Gate? This is kind of important, don't you think?
You make a very valid point.
Haha, I can hate on this book better than you can, and I still give it 5 stars.
No, you're saying everything. You're literally saying everything that I have a gripe about. And I will say that one of the top reasons I don't like this book is because I 100%, if this was not for the podcast, I would have put it down in the first few chapters.
Take that, sucker. That's what you get for 2 books of yours.
The first third of this book was so cringy, it was so bad that I didn't want to, but I will say it improved throughout it. So the other percent after that got a little bit better, a little bit more manageable. And then the last bit was, I guess, your average book. Definitely got its problems, but it's not terrible. So at this point, I wasn't hating on it too much because we did pick up a little bit, but everything you're voicing is essentially what I was thinking as well. So
I'm still going to give it 5 stars.
It's not getting a 1 star from me. It's getting a 2 star. So there.
Okay, riddle me this. They go to football field and they just walk in? No locks anywhere, no security system. They literally just walk onto the field of this famous football field.
I mean, I don't know. Football stadiums don't usually have the best security.
But nothing? No locked door? They just walk in onto the football field. Oh, and by the way, this is also the football area where that one 17-year-old was shot. So you're already giving him home court advantage by having a nightmare right there.
Yeah, she mentioned this. And I was like, oh my gosh, every time she's mentioned this girl, this is for this purpose. There's something major about this spot. It's going to come to light. This Black Knight was made by this girl dying here. This is where he originated or something like that, right? Right? No? Okay. All right. never mind then.
Yeah, and it could have been, but it wasn't. But it was just like, you're giving this dude home court advantage. He shows up, and at this point, he gave me Major Syndrome vibes. He's fanboying over the Black Knight, Hadda's Black Knight. And there's just something super creepy about an obsessive fan. It made me think of The Incredibles. I'm very uncomfortable in this moment.
I still want that theory to happen where he's actually Hadda.
They're in the same place.
I understand, but there's magic involved.
Go write your own.
There's magic involved. You can do it still.
So Alice gives him a decoy eye, and when his guard is down, begins the fight. Hadda takes on the Black Knight, and Alice and the White Knight Zelion? It starts with an X, and I'm just a nope.
Yeah, something like that. I forgot.
I have no thoughts. I listened to the audiobook like a year ago. So the White Knight take on the fiends that he has summoned because he could do that. Chess somehow regains consciousness, and he's a fiend, but he's like, wait, Alice, I know you. And he's about to say that he loves her when he passes out.
I think, like you said, there's a time and a place.
I don't know. I feel like that's the place. He's like, I'm probably dying. Chess has no idea what's going on with him. And you get his mind later, and it's so confusing, and it's just emotions. And so, of course, he feels emotions.
I don't know.
I Love You is much more free-flowing than a makeout scene.
They're 17. Does he really know what love is? Pull that out. I don't know.
Yeah, they're 17.
Okay. I can see it going both ways. It's whatever. I think it's brutal how he dies. He just, bleeds out, basically.
Yeah. Honestly, every time you mentioned the nightmares, I thought of the Heartless from Kingdom Hearts.
Oh.
So I just imagined this sea of blackness taking over him, and he becomes one of the Heartless. That's what I kept imagining. Even though she was like, oh, it's a bear with crab claws and stuff. Oh, this one has several mouths. Oh, I'm just gonna think of my little Heartless that are adorable, and I love them. So that happens. Alice is about to attack the Black Knight when he conjures a bunch of half-formed nightmares and just disappears. And Alice doesn't want to leave Chess.
I guess.
This is what got me. So many times in the books, it's been like, oh, leave me behind. But they save the White Knight. They save Odebeth. The twins save her. They have not left a comrade behind, no matter how impractical it is. But this is the time they're just going to let him stay?
I don't know. I mean, I honestly thought this whole fight scene and this whole scene of all this going on with all this happening and everything, I don't mind this, actually. I thought this was pretty entertaining. I don't have much to say on it. I think a lot of the problems that exist with this scene just come from problems she set earlier in the book. I'm gonna be honest.
Oh, also, this is the point where the monster forms into the nightmare that she saw from Ahun. It's at the very end here.
Yeah, which I think how she described it and how it came out and everything, kind of cool. I like the fight scene that goes on and everything and how they go to take it down and all that. I didn't mind it at all. I thought this was fine. I thought the ending was fine. I have no gripes with it. I like it.
Yeah, but at this point, she kills Chess, and it's just like, wow. Because she's like, oh, you're beyond saving. Let me use the Vorpal Blade to put you out of your misery. So she's about to get attacked, and so she ends up having light magic again, which she used randomly before, and it destroys the beast, but manages to bring Chess back. But she definitely was all for killing that boy. No qualms.
Yeah.
Come on, even if you think Chess is touchy-feely, are you kidding me? No, he's beyond saving. Murder.
Questionable, yes.
It's been an hour.
Yeah. I mean, I get you. I get where it comes from, but I'm all on board for this plot line.
Yes, murder him. Murder him.
No. All right, I see it as this. If you are going to kill a character, get the maximum usage out of it.
But there was no emotion behind it. It was just, well, gotta murder him.
Well, that can all be processed later.
But she doesn't have to, because thankfully light magic saved her from her consequence.
Yeah, I mean, but my thing is the setup for all this could have led to serious character development, and I'm all for it. If you gotta kill a character off to get your main character up to speed and better mental maturity level, then yeah, do it. Sacrifice that boy, even if I like him.
So yeah, the light magic happens, and then light saves her, and Mirror Alice, which is the Alice she saw in the mirror, tells her to rest. Your guess is as good as mine to what any of that means.
It's kind of trippy.
But Alice wakes up at the pub, and Courtney's glad she's alive, which is cool. Maddie helps how she can with Hadda and Court, and Alice grieves for Chess. Even though he's in the pub, he's still there. I don't know. It was a little confusing. Anyway, they got his body and Hada did something to help. But then you find out, Alice has to go back to the football field. The twins have been holding it off, but Alice has to be the one to purge it. Girl, you're so bad at this job. That has happened twice, 3 times in this book.
Also, one of my theories, Hada could still be the Black Knight.
But there's an ambiguous ending. That's the ending. Oh, you better go back there and purge. And so I don't know if it's one of those books where it picks off right where the book left off, but it's just like, well, I hope she did. Anyway, we're going to have an epilogue where the Black Knight talks to Chess and then he attacks Maddie.
Yeah, brings him back. Okay, Hada, he took care of Chess, all right? And then Chess comes back. I think my theory is still plausible.
I don't even follow you at this point.
Yeah. Okay, so here's the thing. She was like, where's Chess? And he says that they're taking care of it and that he will take care of it. And then we get an epilogue of where the Black Knight brings him back. I'm thinking him taking care of it is bringing him back, his alter self.
Good try, baby boy.
I think it's still plausible. I think he still could pull it off.
I think you're just setting yourself up for disappointment.
I probably am.
For a 2-star book, you have so many fan fictions going on right now.
Yes, because I want to improve it. I want to make it better.
Oh my goodness. So, yeah, that's the book. You had a lot of feelings about the romance, which is on par for you. General thoughts. I'm kind of a sucker for Wonderlands. I grew up reading the Wizard of Oz books, which are just nuts. The movie does not do them justice. So I kind of love anything goes, craziness. Nature itself doesn't even adhere to the laws here. It's just nuts. Anything goes. Magic is crazy. Woo! So I'm kind of a sucker for that.
I mean, I like the Wonderland concept. I agree with you there. I didn't read the Wizard of Oz books, but
highly recommend.
I like the movie.
There are monsters that throw their own heads. It's nuts. They're like 200 pages, if that, maybe 150.
Oh, okay.
And it is nuts. And there's 13 of them that he wrote, and then there's books after that, but no one actually counts those. So.
Oh, I just saw this. You put down "We're All Mad" here, and that was a shirt that Hada was wearing. I want that shirt.
Dude, that is so easy to get. Type it into Google.
I'm doing it right now.
It's not hard.
I'm definitely buying one of these.
So, granted, I could do this for any book ever. I can tear this book to absolute shreds, but I like it. I think it hits all the tropes that I like. And even if they are cliched and kind of basic, they are brought all together. And I don't really care. I don't think too hard about this, honestly, this book. I just kind of enjoy the ride, and I don't think of it much deeper than that. And not a comfort read, because I definitely have comfort reads, but I don't know. I like it. I have no qualms with saying I like it.
I mean, good for you. In general, I just feel like this was very basic. Like I said before, it feels like she was following a rubric. She wasn't telling her own story. She was trying to adhere to, I guess, whatever her publisher thought was good. And that's what it felt like most of the time. I want to feel like she's telling her own story. That's all.
One question for the author. I would be curious if she had to pick another property, what she would choose. And you can see from my notes, I'm a little desperate for a new Wizard of Oz because Dorothy must die. It didn't do it for me. I'm never going to do this for the podcast, so very quickly. I appreciated how much the author definitely read the Wizard of Oz books, but it didn't do it for me, so I would love to see more adaptations of Wizard of Oz. This is just an excuse for me to talk more about Wizard of Oz, but I would like to see her do that one.
I guess as a question, I would be the same sort of deal. Why Alice in Wonderland? Because for me, I didn't feel like it was very Wonderland-ish, you know? There wasn't that much that was weird and interesting. All of it was very normal.
Yeah, you definitely had qualms with how much real world we were spending.
Yeah, I wanted to go to Wonderland. I wanted some magical, weird stuff. And if you're going to do Alice in Wonderland, that's the staple. And I don't know. Why pick something that's the staple of it and not go with that, not run with it? So that'd be my question.
Rating is so different. I say this is getting the exact card you need out of 10. Especially, I don't know, maybe it was also just like when I read it, because there were definitely things about Courtney that were super cringy the second time I read it. But I don't know. I like it. I'm glad it's in my life. I'm glad I got to do this. And I'm glad it tortured you. That just adds to my happiness. I live on spite.
I can tell. I would give this a cringy and mind-numbing out of 10.
Hanging out with teenagers out of 10.
Yeah, pretty much. And it didn't need to be that way.
Read again. I mean, I've bought it at this point. I'm for it. Here's the thing, though. I don't want to buy the second one until I've read it, just in case. So I'm in an interesting interesting pickle. But I would read this one again. If this book kind of stretched out with the issues that we had to another book, if all three of them were like it, but for one, I don't mind.
I would do a no, and it is purely for the first few chapters. Because when I first read it, those first few chapters are rough, in my opinion.
Except for the prologue.
The prologue is fine. Prologue is very intriguing. I think it's done really well. I felt like she put more effort into the prologue than the first few chapters. But yeah, after that, the first few chapters are really weird and not in a good way. Cringy, lack imagination, and you're just kind of bored a lot of the time. Doesn't keep my attention. It was not the worst book I've ever read, so.
I mean, that's about what I did for the trilogy that has no trilogy name. But have you read this book? Cheshire Cat or Mad Hatter? Tell us all about it in the comments below. If you like the video, hit like. And if you're enjoying yourself, hit subscribe for more. Thanks for exploring A Blade So Black with us. Join us next time when we'll be covering Ferris by Marissa Meyer. I'm Sam Reiner.
And I'm Hunter Mallard.
And we hope to see you and a friend here next time. Escape with Me Book Club is a Lunar Skulk production. Check us out on TikTok or Instagram to keep up to date with us. Lunar_SKULK.